Hi everyone, welcome to the Contributor Show where you can learn how to start and grow your business and how to make money. My today's guest, a researcher, strategist, and entrepreneur who splits his time between Nigeria, China, and California, partnering with the people to build new things, innovate, and explore. In this video, my guest, Jeremy Kirshbaum, CEO of Handshake Consulting, is going to show us how to create cryptocurrency step by step. Before we begin, please subscribe and hit the bell below to be notified about my new videos, otherwise YouTube won't let you know. Hi Jeremy, thanks so much for coming to the Contributor Show.
No problem, Victor. Great to be here.
In this show, we explore the minds and methods of successful entrepreneurs and visionaries like you and who make difference. To start off, I would like to ask you if you could share with our viewers where are you from and what is your background?
Thanks, Victor. I'm based right now in Oakland, California. I was born in San Francisco and grew up not too far from here, actually. I'm a proud graduate of the University of California at Santa Cruz. Go Banana Slugs. I've spent my time since then doing projects with all kinds of people. I love project-based work. I love exploring and learning about new things. I lived in Ghana for a couple of years and now spend a lot of my time in Nigeria and in the times before the pandemic, China as well. I'm always looking for new people that want to learn and make new things and integrate new things into what they're doing. People who have a passion for the new.
On your website, you stated a volatile world requires resilience. Incremental change is not enough. Could you explain that? What do you mean by that?
We, Handshake, are building or searching for with our community what we call resilient transformation. We've been studying all different kinds of innovation around the world, different models for bringing new technology and societal trends into being. Shanghai innovation from China, God innovation from India, disruptive innovation, you name it. Dual use innovation from the military, and humanitarian innovation is a big focus of ours now. We think that there's still room for a new way of bringing about organizational change and helping people innovate that's holistic, focuses on the long term, and integrates all different stakeholders from the beginning to build value and impact in a way that is more valuable, that is more beautiful, and that is more healing for the world. We don't know what that is yet. We have some ideas. In order to explore that with people, we help people build a strategy in their organizations. We help them build prototypes and proof of concept in AI, in blockchain, in virtual reality, or whatever we can get our hands on, frankly. And we help people research broadly around the world topics from ed tech to blockchain to pharmaceuticals, whatever it is that they need to know more about, and that we can use our networks on 5 continents at the fringes of what they might be seeing to help them broaden their scope and think a little bit more widely.
I see. You help them to widen the horizon so they can get more information, more insights for their projects, right?
Right. I mean, they are the expert on what they're doing, but we have a broad cross-industry and global view of innovation. So we can help them deepen their current understanding and then bring in a lot of outside information at the edges of where they are to take that understanding and kind of take it apart and put it back together and more effectively. And then we can help them get from 0 to 1 and build out what it might start to look like and get them started on their journey.
So I can see huge brands such as Walmart, DuPont, and Kellogg's, and even the United Nations on your website. What kind of services or projects do you do with those brands?
It all depends on what people need. We are always working with a group that is looking past the present day, that is trying to move the organization forward a bit. That can mean teaching, that can mean trainings on innovation methods, that can, like I said, mean research. Sometimes that takes the form of a report. We do make the traditional PowerPoints and PDFs, although whenever possible, we do like to make something more interactive and hands-on so that people can actually feel and sense sense the technologies that they're supposed to be learning about and building into their organization. Do touch product innovation, like we do help people think about the beginning of new products, but we're more on the side of organizational process. How do you build habits and structures into your organization that can help you be more innovative on a day-to-day basis that eventually produce the environment, the processes that help your people come to life and help your people think in a way and work in a way where these new things are generated from within. We think it starts there. But then, because eventually you do have to offer something to the world, we can help people get the early stages of what that looks like as well too. We love just sharing the knowledge that we have. We also have a really broad team. We're on 5 continents, and we're deep in some places that are more difficult for other places to be deep in. And so when that's the case, we can help them quickly, easily source a lot of information on what the innovations are in Brazil, what the innovations are in Nigeria, what the innovations are in Central Asia, in China, because we love learning and being there, and we just can't get enough of it. And for other folks, that's not their core business. So we share that with them so that they don't have to spend all their time doing that. And it gives them an early sense of signals that might draw them into a new market or help them get quick wins on a product or a service they already have, because someone in a market they're not looking at has just created a great innovation that fits for what they're doing. So we help widen people's vision and be their eyes and ears on the ground as well.
Okay, so your LinkedIn profile says that you split your time between Nigeria, China, and California, partnering with people to build new things, innovate, and explore. What kind of projects do you involved in Nigeria and China? Just interested, what kind of innovations you help people in Nigeria to use?
Yeah, of course. And what innovation do they help us with? A third of our core team is based in Nigeria. We have deep roots there. One of my favorite projects we're working on right now is with the International Rescue Committee, building out some EdTech pilots up in the north of Nigeria. That started with us sourcing around 50 to 100 EdTech companies from around Nigeria. There's a massive thriving EdTech ecosystem there already. And then with the IRC Nigeria team, building out a process by which we could select the top candidates out of that to partner with for their work, which is to bring education more effectively to the sometimes conflict-facing areas up in the north with Boko Haram. And in the wake of COVID, needing more remote tools for doing that, digital ways of interfacing with that, or at least testing out whether some of that could work. We ran that incubator. It's our first incubator that we ran almost entirely on WhatsApp, which is great for low data, asynchronous work. It's almost like a Slack that works for low data. Then out of that, 2 of the pilots have been selected to move forward. And so we'll be testing that in tight partnership with the team on the ground there and with the local administration and with the local communities, of course. And then if those pilots work, then of course we'd want to try and help scale them. But we need to validate that they do help first before we move forward with that. So it's kind of a great example of what we like to do. We did a huge scan of EdTech across the world. We had 20 researchers researching in 8 languages. And so we did a huge scan, not just in the humanitarian sector, because they're the experts on the humanitarian sector. Use that to provoke their thinking and then move that down from what we would call identify, envision, and then transform. So we identified, using the global scan, what kinds of EdTech innovations might be useful. Then we envisioned what that might look like, brought in the teams, and then now we're working on the transform part, which is where it actually gets on the ground and starts happening.
I see. In your video, Blockchain as a Disruption, you said that instead of studying trends, we should spend most of our time on studying disruptions because it can lead to radical innovation and helps create something new. Could you explain that?
Sure. I don't know. If you're running a business, I would say that we spend most of our time looking at disruptions. We don't spend as much time looking at disruptions as a foresight group like Institute for the Future. And then if you are a business operator, you should spend very little of your time looking at disruptions. You should spend maybe 1% or 2% of your time looking at them. We're a bit in the middle where we try and bridge from trend to disruption and get people started. And so we spend more time than most. But if you do want to bring something truly new out, you should spend more time there. And if you even are looking for efficiencies and opportunities in your organization, it's where you should start, even if it's not where you end up, because it's what will broaden you most. For us, when we're working with folks, we start there so that they kind of like start in a place of breaking outside of the norm and understand the possible and can operate in a safe space to actually think together as a team. And with blockchain, I've been looking at blockchain since 2011. Unfortunately, I didn't become a crypto millionaire because I'm really excited about its use as a currency, which means that you spend it on things. And so I was like, this is great. I can spend it on things. So I've never really held much at any given time. And that's still where I focus. And it's why the only real markets in the world for Bitcoin are Nigeria and Venezuela. They're the only two markets that fit the characteristics of having a strong internet access, a large enough economy, and a bad enough currency that people can really use it for day-to-day purchases, or at least for a foreign exchange token. It's also why, with the changes in the currency environment, with today's conflicts in Ukraine, we're seeing Bitcoin go up, because when it's used as a currency instead of an investment, the value really increases. But I'm completely uninterested in blockchain as a way to invest. Not because investing isn't great, we just didn't need a new technology for that. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in whatever you want, and you need blockchain for none of it. So investing in blockchain, I don't have a problem with it. It's just why? Like we didn't need it for that. But it can do these new profound things. And one of those things that is exciting for us is dramatically lower the overhead that it takes for anyone to operate a currency. I mean, it is in most places not particularly legal for a non-government entity to operate a currency. But in the past, that was kind of beside the point. The only people that could possibly track millions of individual marked, uncounterfeitable, exchangeable pieces of something were like massive banks. So it was them and the government kind of took that over. But now, anyone with just the clicks of a few buttons and no coding can have some amount, let's say 1 million, individually marked ingots of an online metal. Now, does that make it worth anything? That's up to you. What are you going to do with it? But you can have this currency and it can, so I made Jeremy coin, which you mine by knowing me personally. And so my mom has more Jeremy coin than most. And, a lot of my friends have a lot of Jeremy coin. That gives them rights to my time, 12,500 Jeremy coin for an hour. We haven't had many transactions, I'll be honest, but we're picking up speed slowly. And that's the thing, is once you make it, it never goes away. I'll show folks how they can also, build it. And that's a big part of our principle at Handshake, is we aren't the secret holders of the technology magic. We want to get it into your hands. It's so much easier than people imagine. And it's really, really a wide open field. This blockchain stuff isn't exactly free because of the exchange, the transaction costs, but a lot of it is free, a lot of it is accessible, and a lot of it doesn't even take coding if you're not into that. And so we want people to understand, wow, you can get up and just make something new with this stuff if you want to, if you have a good idea to do it.
Right. Before we move to this explanation how to create the cryptocurrency, which all our viewers are waiting for, I would like to ask you, maybe you can explain, as you did it in your presentation, what is blockchain? Because a lot of our viewers still have no clue what is blockchain. So it's like internet in 1992. People was asking, why do I need email? What is internet? And I think it's the same situation right now with the blockchain. People heard many times this word, but they still don't understand what is that. Can you?
Yeah, for me, if you don't mind me kind of dodging your question, instead of saying what blockchain is, I'd rather say, what does it do? I think often we make these things seem more complicated than they are. Like, imagine I was describing Uber to you, right? And you were like, what's Uber? And I'm like, well, Uber, it's a cloud computing company. And you're like, what's that? I'm like, cloud computing, it's when you have a remote computer and then we integrate it with GPS technology and logistics data in order to manipulate different forms of location between objects and people. And you'd be like, this is the most complicated thing that ever existed. How could I ever use this? But it doesn't matter about any of that. What does Uber do? It gets you a car. So what does blockchain do? It makes things in the digital world that are provably unique. So I can prove that there's only one of a thing. Or if it's Bitcoin, I can prove that there's only 1 billion of a thing and that they are that thing. So this is a lot like a physical object, right? I can prove that there's only one Picasso painting, unless someone counterfeits it. And it is because it's an object. That's something that is very easy in the physical world. It in the past was very hard in the digital world. You had to say this entity or person is in charge of deciding whether this is the real thing or not the real thing. So blockchain just creates a way of managing that automatically. Anyone can do it now. Like I can create Jeremy Coin. I don't have to run Jeremy Coin on my computer or on someone else's computer. With the cooperation of many people, I can always prove that those are the real Jeremy Coins. A question no one was ever asking, but that's beside the point. To go just a little bit deeper, there's two kinds of blockchain. One is a blockchain like Bitcoin. Bitcoin only has tokens, and you can do little else with it. You can do like little scripting on it and make like variations. You can make colored coins. You can make little forks of it, things like that. But mostly it's just tokens that move around, and you can prove that there's a token and you can prove it's in a place. The other category is like Ethereum or, all of its kind of latest progenitor. Ethereum is a computer, Turing complete digital computer. And that's true of many, forget like Solana, and like there's many of them like that now. That's why I can make many tokens with Ethereum, or I can make a smart contract with Ethereum. Now, it's not a very powerful computer. It's like a TI-84 calculator kind of strength at this point. I'm not going to run machine learning on it, but anything you can do on a computer, you can do on Ethereum. And so that's why you can't make Ethereum with Bitcoin, but you can make something that's like Bitcoin with Ethereum.
Is a Bitcoin smart contract too or not?
You could call it a smart contract, but you really can only do very limited things. Like you can write a little
not very smart contract.
Not very smart contract, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Smarter than regular contract, but not as smart as Ethereum.
But I can make an ERC20 token. I can make a token that like is part of this Ethereum standard with Ethereum. Or I can make an automatic trigger where someone submits a certain kind of code and it pays something with Ethereum. So those are the two kinds. There's blockchains that are just tokens, and then there's blockchains that are computers where you can do any number.
I never heard this type of explanation. This is actually very simple. Thank you so much, because I never thought this way. It's very interesting.
It's not that complicated. It seems a little bit more complicated these days because a lot of things that we've started calling blockchain are actually not blockchain anymore, in the sense of having blocks and having chains.
Right.
So then it gets even blurrier because we're actually starting to call other things that are like it, but not exactly a blockchain. And then but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Who cares what blockchain is? What does it do? We can just focus on that.
Yeah, you mentioned that the situation in Ukraine right now affected the price Bitcoin started going up, and there's a lot of predictions right now on the internet what's going to be with Bitcoin price in this year and within next year. So what's your prediction for Bitcoin? What do you think within 10 years? What price should we expect for Bitcoin?
I don't know or care what the price will be. I'm excited about Bitcoin's use as a currency. And in an economy, if your currency goes up in value, if it deflates, we say that a currency inflates if it goes down in value and it deflates if it goes up in value. That's terrible for your economy. When the currency in the United States deflated during the Great Depression, because what people start doing is they hoard the currency, and you never want that with a currency. You want that with a stock, but like I said, we didn't need a new technology to invest in stocks. And so the reason for me, I just want the value to be stable. For people who are trying to use Bitcoin as a currency, people who are using it because their local currency is not stable, if it goes up and down all the time, volatilely, because investors are putting money in and taking it out, you hurt their ability to actually use it. I like dollars as a currency because when I put it in dollars and it's $1 on day one and I come back, it's still just $1. And I like that. If I want something more risky, I put it in stocks. And so I don't know what it'll be in 10 years. I hope that people stop investing in it. I hope that they leave it to people who need to use it as a foreign exchange token and as a method of exchange, because there's lots of people in the world who do need it for that right now. Maybe their government is not working in their favor, or maybe their government just doesn't have good tools for managing currency. For whatever reason, they need it in order to access goods. And when people are investing in it for no other reason than because they hope, I don't know, it'll go up. It hurts that purpose. It makes it more volatile. That's not exactly answering your question, but
Do you think it will go up in price in general, or it will be like fluctuating where it is right now between like 33,000 and 69,000? What do you think?
if more people want it, it will go up. And the way that you make more people want it is you find something to actually use it for.
Awesome. Dear viewers, if you like this interview, please like and share with your friends. They will thank you later. And please subscribe so you can be notified about my new videos. Otherwise, YouTube won't let you know. And now we are ready to move to the main part of this interview. So our guest Jeremy can help us and show us step by step how we can create our own cryptocurrency from scratch.
So let's walk through and make a token together. I went ahead and set up some information I had from a previous token I made because there's a part of the process that takes a few minutes to generate, and I didn't want us to have to all wait for it, but you'll know every single step to do it yourself after this. So the first thing you're going to need to do is download MetaMask. MetaMask is a Web3 client, or you could just call it a wallet, and it attaches to your browser. And so you can see it pops up here, and you then enter your password in and it'll connect. So you just connect this up, right? That's the first step. You just download it and you'll see it says not connected. You download it, you install it as a browser extension. It does all of it on its own. And then it'll ask you, do you want to create a wallet? You should say yes. And if you have a wallet, you can import it there as well. Once you're done with that, you're going to come over to this website called thetokenfactory.com. This is gonna use a GUI to basically create a smart contract for us on Ethereum to create a token, which all you need to know about that is we use this to create the token. So all you do is you come here to create token contract, and it has these different things we want to enter about it. Let's say we want 1 million tokens. Well, first, let's do the important part first and name our token. We could call it Gashun coin, and the symbol should be Geico, of course. Let's make the decimal places 2 because that's simple. And then how many coins do you want to exist, Victor?
21 million.
21 million, exactly. Okay, great. So we do 21 million. And then we have 2 decimal places, so we need to add 2 zeros at the end. And then we go to create the token, and it's going to pop open my MetaMask here. So MetaMask is talking to the website on the Web3 level, in the blockchain level. You see, it's trying to deploy this contract through MetaMask. Now, you'll see it's not free. It costs about $58 right now. So that's not being paid to Token Factory. That's not being paid to MetaMask. That's just the gas fee to move Ethereum around and to move a smart contract around. This is why I was saying I hope people don't invest in blockchain, is because the reason why it's so high is people are making tons of transactions just for investment. And so you don't need to use it for that, and you're making it more expensive for everyone else who's trying to actually use it for something. Just my 2 cents. But $58, if you really are going to have your own global currency, Victor,
Right.
you should be able to invest $58. Your economy is certainly worth that, and probably far more.
And that's it. So you just click create token and that's it. That's
You
simple.
just hit confirm, and then it's gonna roll around and microwave it inside of the internet. And then what you're gonna get is a set of information about the token. The information you're going to get is going to be a private key, which you should hide and never tell anyone about. And then you'll get your public contract address. But at first, you're going to be like, where is my token? Who has it? And so then the last step you need to do here is you need to come over to this section here, the interact with token contract. And you're going to take your contract address and you're going to drop it in, and you're going to go to the token. And so you can see here is the Radish AIs that we made earlier. This has the total supply. And then you're going to use this to transfer your HEIs to an Ethereum address that you trust. I would suggest, I like using Trust Wallet. They have pretty good security, and they're interoperable with a lot of stuff, and you can keep your NFTs in there or whatever. And you're going to transfer this all to a wallet that you trust. And this is very important. You need to not ever lose your password for that wallet. You can't transfer it to Coinbase. Coinbase is basically like a bank.
Right.
You don't actually have a wallet with Coinbase. They have a wallet they're lending to you. Then the hard part starts. That's the thing. Blockchain is the easy part of this. The hard part is then that you, Victor, have 21 million Guy coins. What do you do with your Gashun coins? How do you incentivize people to use them? Why would they use them and not fiat? Do they get special access to your show? Do they get certain things for listening? Do people talking to you? Do you pay your podcast host? But then what can they do with them? That's when the
Right.
hard part starts, which is what would you actually do with a currency?
That's
So
for sure. Yeah, but
don't
at
worry
least
about
people
blockchain
know.
then.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
least people know how to create. Then the second part,
Yeah.
we will create another video how to make your token interesting for other people.
Well, I will definitely watch that video.
Jeremy, thank you for sharing your journey on how to create cryptocurrency from scratch. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Right. So this solves the first part for you.
I hope this video was interesting and you have learned something new. If so, please hit the thumb up, subscribe and hit the bell below to be notified about my new videos. Otherwise, YouTube won't let you know. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay tuned.